Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to be doing a quick product review on the Inrico T320 network radio and smartphone. So guys, if we just have a quick look, you can see that my Inrico T320 does make up part of my personal kit with regards to my security uniform. Now, before we have a look at the Inrico T320 in more detail, then let me give you a quick introduction as to why I bought this Inrico T320 smartphone / network radio in the first place. Now, the thing is, I work in the private security industry here in the United Kingdom. Now, I work in the transport sector, which means that I deal with a lot of members of the public. Unfortunately, some members of the public are not that nice, and instead some of them are actually very bad people, and as such I do have at times need to contact the police in order to help deal with these bad people that we do come across. And that is basically the reason why I invested in this Inrico T320 smartphone / network radio. Because as you can see, it is securely attached to my vest. So this means when I'm out on duty, I have got a smartphone that is securely attached to my uniform, and it's going to be very difficult for me to lose it, as you can see. So having the Inrico T320 securely attached to my uniform basically means, if need be, I could even go hands-free with this radio. I could even use an earpiece from the radio to my ear. So my hands can be free, basically protecting myself from a threat, or, helping to restrain someone who is basically a threat to us, to members of the public, or maybe even a threat to themselves. So having the Inrico T320 securely fastened to my uniform, as you could see, is of a great help. So that was one of the main factors what I wanted from my new smartphone. So it was the factors were it secured tightly to my uniform. It was a smartphone that was very rugged and cannot be easily damaged, and also that I could go hands-free and basically have the phone located on my body, and the chances of losing it is basically next to none. So that's why I invested in Inrico T320. I wanted a smartphone, not a cello radio. So right guys, now you understand why I invested in the Inrico T320. Let's have a look at it in a little bit more detail. So as you can see, it is securely fastened to my uniform. Now if I take it off my uniform, and if I just bring it up to this camera, you can see that it looks a very rugged and sexy smartphone / network radio. Now if we have a look at the back, we will see that we have this battery compartment. Now I can open this battery compartment like such, and you can see that we have this battery in it. Now guys, I actually bought this battery compartment separate, okay? This was actually very expensive to get this click fast mount onto, this Inrico T320. This cost me, I think it was about £36, which is probably going to be about 50 United States dollars. But again, I invested in this back cover because it allows me to connect the Inrico T320 securely onto my uniform. Okay, so moving on, let's have a look at the side of it. As you can see, we've got these big chunky buttons. Now this is your push to talk. So if we press it, so the reason why it's making that beep is because I'm not actually signed into my cello and stuff like that, okay? But as we can see here on the side, we can actually unscrew this and we can add an earpiece to it. So we could have this on here and have an earpiece running up to your head. So you wouldn't have to disconnect it from your uniform. So what else we've done? Up here we have basically, let me try and get us to focus. We're gonna focus. Let's see. Let's switch it on, and we should get a better focus. Okay, yeah. So we got better. So up here we have dialer. As you can see, that helps to control the volume. As you can see, so this helps the volume. I believe it also helps to, you know, move on the channels, select the channels if you are using cello. And then as you can see here, we have the antenna. Okay, as you can see, this is the antenna and it screws back into place here on Inrico T320. Now, let me show you this here, guys. So let me just log in. This, by the way, is a touchscreen. You see that? So it's a touchscreen. Now it wants me to enter my code. Now let me just enter my code for you. And as we can see, we are back in. Okay, so here we go. So if I sign into like this, now I'm in the cello mode. This is the cello mode of the phone. So this is like a network radio. Now watch this, guys. If I press on the touchscreen, so now I'm making communications. And I don't know if you heard in the background, but my mobile phone, which is also my personal mobile phone, which is also signed as your cello, picked up that transmission. So, guys, can you hear me talking to my smartphone in the background? And as you can see, that is using cello. Now, if I wanted, I could, instead of pressing this button here, I could instead press the side button here. So, CO345 radio check, can you call back? So as you can see, we can actually press the side button on the T320 to, you know, transmit our audio. 3456 call back. And there, as you can see, that's that's cool. So this is that's the cello function on the Inrico T320. But I did not buy the Inrico T320 for cello, okay? Instead, I bought this because I wanted a smartphone. So as you can see, it runs a basic Android operating system. So can you see this, guys? It has a basic Android operating system. So when this is attached to my uniform, okay, I don't even actually need to take it off in order to access it. I can actually have the Inrico T320 here on the side, and I can actually just flick it up like that, and I can just go on to aspects from here. So I don't actually have to take this off my uniform. So let's go back and have a look. Now, as you can see, I have set this smartphone up for basically shortcuts. So if we come back again, so if you have a look here, if I press the phone, you see it gives me some photos, right? So if I press a photograph of the police car, this mobile phone is going to ring directly to the police. If I press the photograph of the ambulance, then this phone is going to directly dial 999 and I'm going to ask for the ambulance. And obviously, it's got other shortcuts which I'll just keep to myself. But yeah, the whole fact is that this phone is touchscreen, and as you can see, it has a dialer. So if I dialed my own phone number and rang out on it, then you know obviously I would be making a phone call. So not only is this a network radio, but this also is a smartphone, and the whole purpose why I bought the Inrico T320, let me just check that's right. Yeah, T320. The whole reason why I bought the Inrico T320 in the first place was because I wanted a rugged smartphone. Now, one thing what I have learned about working in the security industry is that when you're working outside, okay, in the rain. And if you have a smartphone and if your screen is covered in water, you will not be able to press the correct phone numbers because the water droplets will basically mess everything up. So that's why we have these hardcore buttons here, you know, the hard buttons. So now I can make a phone call via pressing these buttons. Okay, so you guys understand that? That's another reason why I invested in the Inrico T320, because it has a touchscreen and it also has physical buttons which I can press. So if I am outside and if it is absolutely torrential downpour, I can still make a phone call on this handset and not have to worry about water droplets getting all over the screen and not allowing me to make a phone call. So as you can see, the Inrico T320 is a pretty decent bit of kit. Now the thing is, if you use Cello, and let me just bring this up, let's find Cello. It's on here somewhere, isn't it? Let me just find it, guys, bear with me. Okay, yeah, here we go. Let me show you this. So if we bring up Cello here, we can see that we can go actually to the history of the messages. Now I've not used this in a while. Yeah, here we go. So now we can play back the last messages I sent.
0345 radio check, can you call back?
So
3456 call back.
Here we go.
So now I'm making communication. Guys, can you hear me talking to my smartphone in the background?
Now, as you can hear, the speaker, the loudspeaker on Inrico T320 is absolutely amazing. So let me just do this again. Go to the messages and guys, listen to the loudspeaker. Check this out.
Guys, can you hear me talking to my smartphone in the background? 0345 radio check, can you call back? 3456 call back.
So again, guys, as you can see here, the Inrico T320 is a very, very smart bit of kit. And the simple thing about it is that it has a very basic Android operating system. As a matter of fact, if you bought the smartphone that runs the Android version of this, that smartphone will cost you about 10 to 15 pounds, which is about 20 United States dollars. But the T320, this goes for about 160 pounds, which could be like something like 180 United States dollars. So for something that runs a very basic operating system, you know, it's actually kind of strange, but nonetheless, this is a very rugged phone that can take a good beating. And I know I've got a phone that's constantly going to be work. This is my go-to smartphone when I'm out in the field. Because again, this allows me to just quickly to go to the phone section and go to my shortcuts and make these important phone calls. So the way I like to think of it with Inrico T320 is if I come across a bad person when I'm out working in the transport sector as a security officer, then I like to think if I have to take this mobile phone and make a phone call to the police, then that usually means that the bad person I'm dealing with, there's a strong possibility that they're going to get arrested. And that's where I like to have the Inrico T320. This is basically, to me, my emergency phone. So if I come across a very bad person when I'm out working, and if I have to make a phone call, then it's going to, from the T320, then it's going to be an emergency phone call. It's either going to be to the police because we need a set of handcuffs, or it's going to be to the ambulance service because, you know, somebody is in a very bad way and they need immediate medical assistance. So as you can see, guys, that is basically the Inrico T320, and that is basically my quick introduction to it. As you can see, it has emergency buttons. I believe this is, if you press this on cello, it's making an emergency, it basically sets off the emergency feature, which will tell everybody else on that group that, you know, this is an emergency, I need assistance. So that's basically the alarm button on it. And yeah, guys, as you can see, the Inrico T320 is a very good bit of kit. Now, to finish this video with, I have to say, on the market, you can take this section off and get an earpiece for it, but it seems to be on the market, we have only those little tube earpieces. You know, the ones what you'll see like door supervisors wear in the nightclubs, you know, the little transparent tube, and then it goes inside your ear. That seems to be the only earpiece that's available for the Inrico T320, which kind of sucks because I like the over-the-ear headpieces and not the you know, the little tubeless acoustic earpieces. I don't like them ones. So that's a little bit of the downside with regards to having an Inrico T320 in that sense. Because again, if we had the D-shaped pieces to go with this adapter section, that would be great, but we don't. But anyway, guys, as you can see, that is my Inrico T320, and as you can see, we can even send text messages. So if I wanted to send a text message, I can just go ahead and fill out the details, as you can see. You know, and yeah, guys, what can I say? Thank you for watching my latest product review video, and I will see you guys in the next one.